Hi, guys, and welcome back to the LINA BHUDIA podcast. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and turn on the notification button for more videos from me. So, today I wanted to talk about family YouTube channels or family vlogging channels, um, which is essentially YouTubers who film their day to day lives and also include their children, often very young children, in the videos. Now, while we've been on lockdown, I've been watching a lot of YouTube, and I have to say, I enjoy watching family YouTubers because I love kids. They're really cute, they're fun. It's just light-hearted entertainment, which I think is great. And as long as the parents aren't kind of abusing or harming their children just to get content, that's absolutely fine. And we'll get more into that later on. But there is a more sinister side to these types of channels, which I wanted to talk about today. And like a typical Libra, or am I? Am I a Libra? Apparently, there's new star signs, or there's a new star sign, and all the star signs have been switched up. I don't know what I am, but I'm not okay with it. I'm a Libra. I identify as a Libra. So, as a typical Libra, I do like to weigh up the pros and cons in most things, and this will be no different. So, starting with the pros, um, first of all, it's a fantastic way for the parents to spend more time with their young children and earn money at the same time by uploading videos onto YouTube. So there's a family that I watch who are based in Florida, I believe, KK and Baby J. And oh, pardon me, there was a little burp there. Excusez-moi. Um, and for anyone who has watched them from the beginning and through to now, you'll see that they started off as a very young couple, and that was, I believe, intentional. They wanted to have kids at a very young age, but they didn't really have much in the way of money. The dad was working overtime, and they were living in a very small flat and didn't really have much going for them. And the YouTube channel has spun it completely round for them. And if it wasn't for the YouTube videos and they had had to rely on regular jobs, they would have had to have spent time away from their children just to make ends meet. So I think in situations like that, these types of channels can be good because it's a way to make money, and you also get to spend time with your children that you wouldn't have spent otherwise. And I will use KK and Baby J as an example again. Like, their kids will never ever grow up to think that they weren't in a loving home, because there's clearly a lot of love there. Both parents are very visible in their lives, in their day to day. They play with them. There's a lot of love. Like, that's without doubt. You can't question that. There's a lot of love in that family, and I only pick this family out because they're the main YouTubers that I watch in terms of family vloggers, that is. And yeah, I mean, the amount of time that they spend with their children versus how much time they would have spent had they had regular jobs, 9 to 5 jobs. And a lot of us know 9 to 5 jobs usually doesn't mean 9 to 5. You end up working overtime. You need to travel to your place of work, and that takes or can take up to an hour for some people. So it's not just 9 to 5. It might end up being, actually, in reality, 7:30 to 6:30. So yeah, I think it's a positive thing that these parents get to spend a lot of time with their children whilst also earning money through the YouTube platform, and get to experience that time and love together. On on the flip side, however, and I know this has been discussed a lot, and I'm just throwing in my 2 pence here. On the flip side, there's a lot of crazy people in the world. Like, I love kids and I love watching these YouTube channels with young kids. They're super cute, it's really entertaining. I've got a psychology degree, so from a child psychology perspective, which was always my favorite topic, I just love the way children interact and love how they grow and love how they learn. It's just really fun for me to watch, and if they're cute, even better. But that's as far as it goes for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's it. I would never stalk anyone. I would never have any kind of ill intent or anything like that, but that doesn't mean that there's people out there who don't. um and you can protect your kids as much as you can when you're with them, but you can't protect them as tightly when they are with when they're at school, basically, or when they're at a friend's house. And what these YouTubers are doing is essentially making themselves famous, but they don't have the security and network around them that kind of, I'm going to use the word actual famous, but I don't mean that in an ill intent way to YouTubers. What I mean is, YouTuber is a very new phenomenon, whereas singers and actors and kind of other celebrities like that, that's a machine in its own right, and they have access to heightened security that YouTubers, who probably still feel like regular people even when they're not, even when they hit a level of fame, they probably still don't feel that they are famous. I think it's just a slightly different um it's a slightly different way of thinking, in that singers and actors, they face their audience. Like, singers on stage, they face the audience and probably experience that fame or that feeling of fame through that, whereas YouTubers who are just filming their lives on a daily basis don't get that experience and probably just feel like regular people and don't realize actually that growing is that fan base, and that growth, the subscriber count, is growing to a point where you are reaching people who aren't in your country, who, let's get real, might be crazy. You never know. Like, there's a lot of people out there who do things for different reasons and can't cope with the feeling of jealousy, can't cope with the feeling of, you have something that I don't, and may not have the best intentions. And I'll use KK and Baby J as an example all throughout this, because, like I say, they are the ones that I've been watching the most. But they have had experiences of people kind of rocking up at their house, or issues with the neighbours who didn't like them filming. And it's just a prime example of how just going around filming your everyday life can actually have an impact on you. And like I say, when they send their kids off to school, what's the protection level like there? So from a security perspective and the overall reach that you have, it's one to consider when you're thinking about filming your young children, especially when they're featured so heavily in your videos. Like, there are other YouTubers who have children, but they're not, like, those children aren't the main focus of their YouTube channel. So for example, in Britain, in the UK here, we have a YouTuber called Fleur de Force. She's been YouTubing for years and years and years and years, and had her first daughter 2 years ago, I want to say 3 years ago. And her daughter features in her videos occasionally, especially when she's vlogging. It'll be hard not for her to feature in the videos, but she's not the prime focus of Fleur's videos. Whereas with KK and Baby J, I mean, it's in the title. At the time, it was Baby J Jackson, and he was a primary focus when he was born, and now there's two other children as well, and they too feature very heavily in the videos. And a lot of the times, the video title will be based around them. So I do think that's something that needs to be considered as well. They're very young children and they're being kind of pushed out into the limelight without their consent because they don't really know what's going on. And I find it a bit strange when such young children, kind of below the age of 5, are picking up the camera and talking into it like it's a real person. That's a little strange. I don't know if that's a good reality for young children to be experiencing. Maybe that's just me being a bit ancient, I don't know. But I don't know, there's something a little bit off about that in my opinion. And people like Fleur de Force can have a YouTube channel and not have her daughter be the front of the video of the channel. So it is possible to have a channel and not have your children be the main focus, is what I'm saying. And as they grow up, those videos are out there for life. Even if the parents choose to cancel their own channel at some point, other people have channels based on them. And, when they're older, they might not want to be internet sensations. They might not want that fame. They might not want videos of them running around in nappies. They might not want those videos. It's nice to have the memory, but do you really want that memory to be on a platform where millions and millions, potentially billions of people have access to? That's probably a little bit too much. Another thing about it is, again, that kind of that perception of what's a reality and what isn't. We all know the internet can be a very, very horrible place. Everyone has their opinion. I'm sharing my opinion right now, but I would never say anything rude or try to put someone else down just for the sake of putting them down. But there are people out there who do. There are people who will come for you just because they've got nothing better to do. There are people out there who will come for you just because they're bored or because they're jealous or because a lot of people will bring other people down to make themselves feel stronger and more powerful rather than doing what they should be doing, which is to work harder to equal up to this individual that you're so jealous of. Just work hard, you know what I mean? But not a lot of people do that, and they like to hate just for the sake of hating. And now the children are potentially the targets. And hopefully, I mean, I don't mean that in a terrible way where, well, actually, I think I do. There are people out there who would probably attack children if they thought that they could. And a lot of people who type away from their phones in their bedrooms or punch away at their keyboards, they kind of, I suppose, separate themselves from the human being that they are talking about and don't consider the repercussions. And I would hate for a young child to have a grumpy day, which they're more than entitled to do, but have it in a way where it's then put online and millions of people have the opportunity to type comments about them, a 5-year-old. That's just strange. But having said that, like I say, KK and Baby J, they are the one kind of family vlogging channel that I watch. And like I said earlier, there's a lot and lots and lots of love in that family. They have sometimes used clickbait when it comes to pregnancies. I'm pregnant, she's pregnant, took a pregnancy test. I do sometimes think that they use it to their advantage, which can be really annoying. But obviously that's the way that they choose to run. That's kind of my only really negative about them as a channel. They can be very clickbaity, I think, and they don't need to be. So yeah, I think for me, when YouTubers or kind of family vloggers, what's really bothers me is when they use their children and kind of script what they're going to do and play pranks on their kids, their very young kids who probably don't understand why it's happening. So KK and Baby J don't do that. They don't ever kind of pit their kids up against each other just so they have content for their video. If they don't have content, they don't have content, and they'll just put up like a regular boring video. And they even sometimes joke that, oh, this is so boring, but this is what we're up to, especially during lockdown. They have made a comment about, well, we're not doing anything right now, so we don't really have any entertaining video or content for you. And I like that they were that honest enough to say that. But I think some other channels, they kind of use their children in ways that they probably shouldn't. So things like, oh, we're going to be really nice to this kid and be really horrible to this kid and see what happens. Yeah, like that's not going to psychologically damage your child who doesn't understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. So yeah, channels like that, I'm not a big fan of. I just think it's very clickbaity. I think it can be damaging on the children. And I get that there's a lot of money to be made, but don't use children to do it. You don't have their consent to do it, and the repercussions on them could be heavier on them than on you, because as an adult, you've had the lessons of what it feels like to have a fun childhood, and you've made the decision as an adult to pick up the camera and put it on YouTube, whereas the children haven't had that opportunity, and now they're living in a world where they're just permanently in front of a camera and don't know how else to behave, but aren't necessarily running around in famous circles where they have other kids who they can make friends with who understands what they are going through. Chances are they're going to school with other kids whose parents aren't YouTubers and won't understand what it feels like to be on the platform, on the internet, have that level of fame. It's fame, but it's not really. Do you know what I mean? It's like, we're not talking Britney Spears type of fame. It's like 1 million people, which is a lot of people. That's enough to be famous. And for hundreds of thousands of people to be watching you daily and put their comments below. Like if I went to Florida and I saw them, I would recognize them. Like that's fame, but it's not extreme fame. And in some sense, I guess that middle ground is probably a weirder place to be, because there's almost a false reality of, oh, I feel safe. Oh, suddenly there's someone that I don't know who recognizes me. Oh, that's weird. Whereas when you're not famous, you can just go about your business and that's fine. When you're extremely famous, you're on high alert all the time. But when you're in that middle ground, it's probably a bit like you put your guard down and then something happens and you realize, oh God, yes, people know us. And you have to put that guard back up. And then you slowly put the guard back down. Oh God, yes, people know us. We have to put the guard back up. That's the level of fame that some of these channels are at when you have like 1 or 2 million. So yeah, that's my opinion on family YouTubers. There's pros and cons to everything, and it's great that these families can make money whilst being at home with their kids. But throwing your kids into the limelight, there could be repercussions of that which need to be considered. So anyway, guys, let me know what your comments and thoughts and feelings are on family vloggers. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think it's a good thing? Or do you really think that it's not a good thing and it could be quite damaging? I'm kind of on the fence here, only because I have seen this lovely family go from nothing to everything. Like they've got a lovely house, lovely kids, lots of love, and it is this platform that changed their life. But as they continue to grow and as the children continue to grow, I do wonder how that might change. So, yeah, leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And until next time, I'll see you again soon. Bye.